In this video, I am going to give you 3 steps that can help you achieve your goals between now and the end of the year. Because let's face it, we're in June. So we don't have a lot of time to get those goals that you might have set at the beginning of the year if you're not on track for them now, because summer's here. We're midway through the year. And for some of you, that may be a great thing because you might be on track to your goals. You might be looking back and thinking, wow, I've accomplished a lot. I'm right on track for everything that I said I wanted to do at the beginning of this year. And now you could look forward to relaxing maybe a little bit, just kind of slowing down a bit for summer. But for some of you, it may feel like the clock is ticking. Maybe it's, oh my gosh, I'm nowhere near where I thought I was going to be. Or you're just still trying to feel like you're trying to build that momentum. Well, certainly remaining consistent and focused can help you achieve those goals. But for others, if you are sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, not again. Why am I here again? I'm setting the same goals, or it's another year where I'm saying what I want, and yet I'm nowhere near where I want to be, or I feel so unclear. Don't worry. I get it. I get it because I have been through that. And I got you. I got you covered here. I'm going to give you 3 steps that are going to be absolutely necessary if you want to achieve your goals and if you want to hit those goals by the end of the year. So you might want to repeat these a few times. And I would suggest getting out a pad of paper and a pen and going through these with me. I'm also going to link what I call a success alignment exercise down below that I think you can implement as well that will help you. So let's go. The first step is going to be very obvious, but it's very important. And I think sometimes people tend to overlook it because they brush past it. And that is to be very clear on what it is that you want. This requires you, though, to be honest with yourself, because I want you to really think in terms of what do you want, not what do you think you can get, because that's a lot of times what we do. We trip ourselves up. And we start playing this realistic game. Oh, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I have the time or the energy, whatever it is. And we start to limit ourselves. I want you to think in terms of, wow, if you could do anything, if you had a magic wand, what would you want? And then get it out of your head and get it on paper. It is much easier to get to what you do want if you're struggling with this at all. It's much easier to get to what you do want if you are clear on what you don't want. And you see, this is where the honest part comes into play when I say that we have to be honest with ourselves about what it is that we want. Because the truth is that most of us do know what we want, but we've been so conditioned to follow the rules, to stay within the boundaries, to color within the lines, to look to others for what are we good at? What should we be doing? Almost like we're trying to get the suggestions for how we should be running our lives. Or we look to others for permission to do what we want to do, not consciously, but it shows up subtly. Or we start to think about what we might like to create in our lives. And then we start to think, it sounds great, but not realistic. I don't have the time. I don't have the skills. I don't have the certifications. I don't have the money. Fill in the blank, whatever it is. You got to screw realistic. Nothing ever great came about by being realistic. You create your own version of realistic for yourself, and you got to take a chance and get off that realistic road. That has just become part of your normal routine to the point of now it becomes habitual, and it's our habits that dictate our actions. So you have to snap yourself out of that and start talking in terms about what you do want so that you can start to stretch your imagination or your mind into the field of possibilities. And there are plenty of possibilities out there for you, but you got to play with this. And this is something that you got to take your time with. So just get quiet, spend some time alone, and really start allowing your mind to play. And then the second step is that once you start to get clear on what it is that you want, you have to understand why it's important to you. Because you see, when you understand the why, the how will always present itself. You don't have to worry about the how. And this is where a lot of people get tripped up because now our mind goes, okay, I got to figure out this, and this. No, you have to get really clear on why this is so important to you. And you can't get trapped into the 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 goal of, or the thought of thinking, oh, well, because I need the money, or it's because of the money. It's not because of the money. It's never going to be just because of the money. And I'm sure you've heard that before. It's always about what the money allows you to do. It's not the home, it's what the home means for you. So you have to start getting into what's the real reason why I want this, and spend some time connecting to that vision. Don't rush through this step. Don't just pay this step lip service and just kind of go through it quickly because you're having to try and get on with your life and trying to get those goals achieved. No, because this is where the magic happens. This is where we start to bring the emotion into our goal. And that's key because we're emotional beings. We create via our emotions. That's what's going to help you stay aligned and on track to your vision. If you were trying to get to, I don't know, let's say you were trying to get to your friend's wedding and you knew you had to be there. Maybe you're in the wedding and you're trying to get to the wedding, but now there's all this construction, something's going on, and you have to take a detour. You're not going to just give up and turn around and say, sorry, I can't be there. You would find another way. You'd press through it and you'd find another way. You'd redirect. Your mind would find a solution. You'd find a solution, right? Well, it's the same thing when you have a strong enough why. And I know we hear that so often, but a lot of times we just kind of brush past it. So you have to take the time to do this. And then the third step is that you want to focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. And this is something that a lot of people just don't realize they're doing, because remember, our words are very powerful. So a lot of times people will say, don't want to feel this way anymore. I just wish I wasn't so tired. Oh, I wish I could just lose these 10 pounds. Comments like that are never going to lead to change. They're just going to perpetuate the issue. Instead, you want to shift your focus to what you do want, and you want to get detailed. You want to get very, very detailed, because success is in the details. It is not enough to say, I want more money. You could find a quarter, and heck, you'd have more money. Vague requests get vague results. So ask yourself, how much more is more? What does that mean? I used to say, I am great at making money, and I made money. But that statement became far more powerful when I started saying, I am great at making millions. Now, I didn't go out and make millions very next day. But when I started to stretch my mind into that, oh my gosh, it's a complete mental shift. If you have a hard time wrapping your mind around making millions, maybe you've made 65, 70,000 in a year, then okay, state a number that will stretch your mind, but it won't automatically reject it as being impossible. Sometimes when we set it so high, it's hard to get there because we need to take these incremental steps. So maybe you're more comfortable in saying, hey, I am really great at starting to bring in 200,000 a year. I am great at making 500,000 a year. Fill in the blank. Say statements like, money flows to me easily in avalanches of abundance, and I happily accept it. Get specific, get detailed. Now, I always like to add on to this goal the words or the statement, this or something better for my highest good and for the good of those I serve, because my mind's limited. And so that's why imagination and visioning are so important. My creator has a much bigger, unrestrained vision and knows far more than me. So I open myself up to that by adding to my goal, this or something better for my highest good and for the good of those I serve. So what do you really want? What do you want that excites you? Think about a time in your life that maybe you got something you really wanted. Or on the flip side, has there been a time in your life that you got what you didn't want? Think about that for a moment. Did you get just what you gave your attention to, be it positive or negative? If you're really good at getting what you don't want, that just proves that you have the power to achieve what you focus on. So start focusing on what you do want consistently and mix it with emotion, because this is how we start to create. This is how we start to step into that field of possibilities and allow our mind to stretch into that. This is how good athletes become great athletes because they don't just practice, they practice with the emotion of the game. They visualize their performance in detail and they put themselves mentally into the feelings of their desired results. We all have the ability to bring our desires to fruition, but we have to raise our standards for our own selves. And we have to boost our belief in what's possible for us. So try these 3 steps. If you're feeling like, man, I'm still a little out of sorts, or man, I'm trying so many different things. A lot of times we try all these different things outside of ourselves, strategies and tactics, and sign up for all these things that all of a sudden we pull back and we go, it's too much. I'm overwhelmed. There's too many things to do. And then we have no idea what we're doing. I promise you, when you are clear and you take decisive action by focusing on what it is that you want, breaking it down into digestible goals, chunking it down to digestible goals and focus on those, you will start to hit your goals because you're going to start to build that momentum, which is going to build your confidence, which is just going to continue to repeat the cycle, basically a healthy cycle of achieving what it is that you want, rather than this cycle of, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed, I'm frustrated, I'm trying all these different things. Follow these 3 steps, go through them, take your time and go through them slowly and allow yourself the space to step into the field of possibilities of what it is that you truly want. Remember, when you are clear on your why, when you understand why this is important to you, and it doesn't have to be some global changing mission. It can be as simple of, wow, if you know what, if I had the resources right now, I could take that great family vacation and we could all be together. Okay, get into the emotion of that. What does that feel like when you're all together? Get into the emotion of that. Feel that. You want to lose those 10 pounds? What does it feel like to be putting on that bathing suit and know that you're going to, oh man, I have to hide it underneath that shirt. Oh man, I feel like, if I just worked out more, if I could just get my abs in better shape, my back might not hurt. Start thinking in terms of what does it feel like in your end result, that desired result. When you can start to understand, or when you understand why it's important to you to achieve that goal, and you can feel the emotion behind it, it makes it 10 times easier to stay focused on that goal. And when you are focused and consistent, you will absolutely hit your goals every single time. Try these 3 steps. Again, down below is a link to what I call a success alignment exercise, and you can implement that as well to help you through this process. Thanks so much for joining me, and let me know if this is helpful to you. Bye-bye.